Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Tumorously Yours. Today, we have with us uh, someone who is very special. Her name is Yasmin Khorakiwala. She has worked extensively as an educator. She runs her own Montessori school in Visakhapatnam called Oleander and also provides online Hindi classes to many students all across the country. She is also my Masi. I'm very, very proud to, call her my Masi. So Yasmin Khorakiwala has seen cancer in two generations. Her father suffered from cancer in 1993 and her son in 2000. And it takes an immense amount of strength to deal with so much. And I just want to take this moment to really, really appreciate you taking out the time to talk about it with us today. So thank you so much. And let's start off with the first question we have. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Where are you from? How old are you? What cancer your father had? What cancer your son had? What stage it was in when they were diagnosed? How old were they? And what treatment they went through?
Okay. First of all, thank you, Adnan. You made me so emotional. I cry so fast. So that's me, and I like it myself that way. Okay, I have to say that I'm Yasmin. I'm 60 years of age. I'm a Montessorian, as what you said. And yes, I live in Vizag. My journey was little very long. Also, it was very hard, but I have survived, and that's something I always give a pat to myself. And I have to talk first about my father. His name was Salebhai Khorakiwala. So he diagnosed at the age of 55. He had got mouth oral cancer, mouth cancer. And his treatment at that time, cancer was very, very new. And the treatment was also not so much very clearly visible to people. People just tried and error. And that's where my father got into the corticoid. He went to a general surgeon. The Dr. Tire just did his radiation immediately. The cancer, which was very, very small, spread completely in his mouth. He had the will to live. He was a very strong person. He wanted to fight this battle and he was very positive. And he fought this battle for 8 years. And in 1993, he couldn't do it anymore. He passed away. So that's where I came to know what cancer was. And believe me, I was very afraid of cancer. I can deal with anything, but not cancer. And in 1999, my son name was Murtuza Madraswala. He he started having headaches, and they were very severe. And he was wearing spectacles. We always thought he's got migraine, or his eyesight has gone high. So we did all those checkup. We did his eyesight was fine. We went used to go for migraine, treatment, and the doctors would give him medicine. He would subside, and then again he would start. And then he started vomiting. He was very strong person. He would, when he had 103 fever at that time, I would never know until I touched him. He was just 13 years or 12 and a half years of age. So when he started vomiting and his head started paining very badly, then we went to our general physician, Dr. Ram Mohan Rao. And one day he said that why don't we have just an X-ray done of his brain? And when we did the X-ray and we went to him, this doctor just immediately told me, he gave a name of a neurosurgeon and just go to him. Name was Dr. Kalyana Raman. And immediately told us to admit him in the hospital. We were not understanding what is happening. Suddenly we thought of going home. Maria is in the house. My little girl, who was almost, you can say, 5 years, 5.5 years of age. Now we have to admit our child in a neuro specialist in Apollo Hospital in Chennai. By the time we reached hospital, it was 8 o'clock in the night. And the doctor told me that you have to shave his head because early morning it is a surgery. And this doctor never told me, he told me scientific name, glyboma, something like that. I don't remember the name because I was very angry with that name. So then early morning, his operation happened and he went at 5 o'clock and he came out at 7 p.m. in the evening. So the doctor said that he is very alert but he's little sedative and we can't give him more sedative because he had got brain tumor and he was on a fourth stage. So after a month, I returned back home with Murtala.
I'm I'm a little bit out of words because of the amount of back to back things that you would have had to deal with right after your child. How old was your son, auntie, at that time?
He must be 12 and a half or 13 years or coming towards 13. So
And
he
did
was that.
he know he had
No.
cancer?
So I just told him that you have some problem, and if you fight it out, you will become well. So that was the only thing I told him in his life. So he never knew till on his deathbed I had told him. So before that, no.
Okay. But so I want to know, how, how did you deal, because he had to be in the ICU, and while you were there inside with him throughout, um, he still had to accept that he's barely 12, 13, living in a hospital for so long. And did he talk to you about it? Did you talk to him about it? How did this situation feel emotionally for you and for him?
For me, it was very, very traumatic. Like, I was sitting on a chair in an ICU. They don't give you beds. So that 15 days, I was almost just sitting there. So I had to be with him and tell him, see, mommy is with you. And because I was with him, every step he was ready to take that journey along with me. So you can say I also live with that disease.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that we have to make
No,
you tell us about it. I'm very
no.
sorry.
But I want to give it because I have evolved with that and I have learned from Muru so much. So
So,
I want to say that.
But auntie, I have two questions. One is that how long did he go through the treatment?
Oh,
And did the doctor tell you at the start or during at any point that this is at a stage where he may not recover at all?
okay. My neurosurgeon, his treatment lasted for 1 year. He has taken 12 chemotherapies and 20 radiations. My oncologist was very good. So I used to speak to him everything, right? And I told him that the day you feel, because Muru does not know this disease, the day you feel that this is over, that you have to tell me and I will just leave it. If I tell Muru that you're not going to survive, I don't think so I can bring him back again for his next treatment. So that is why I never told him. So it almost lasted for 13. The 13 chemotherapy was something which he could not take. Otherwise, you'll be surprised that he went to school every chemotherapy. He has not missed his school. And he used to play every day on the terrace. If I take his play away, he will die much faster than anything else.
I
So his
remember that
friends was,
I
yeah,
remember that once when I was we had visited Chennai, and I have played with him on the terrace during this time. I clearly have like a very vivid memory of this.
yeah. So he used to play, and his friends, there were some couple of friends. I don't remember their name. They knew that Muru had something and need to be protected because twice on the terrace he's got fits. So they were so beautiful that they immediately would put him on his lap, and one of them would run down. I was on the fifth floor. The terrace is above me. So immediately I would go, and then I used to run down, make a call, and the ambulance would come and take him to the hospital. I don't know. This only Muru can do that to me. When like this would happen and we had to run him to the with an ambulance to, he had always seen ambulance on the road, right? And he was very fascinated with cars and all kinds of things. So one day he told me, Mama, I'm so lucky I'm in an ambulance, because that is something he got a wish to sit in to drive in an ambulance. And I said, this only Muru can say that to me. So it was a very proud moment for him, actually, to tell you. So he has played all the time. And I remember Muru had one, a car with a remote control car in the night when everybody, like after 10, 11 o'clock, he used to drive his car crazy in that long corridor. And he used to have fun time.
I remember when I had visited, I have actually played with Murubhai with cars. You know, you used to get those Hot Wheel cars If you pull them
Yeah,
back, they would spring load and then they would go forward. When your son, Murubai, was going through the treatment, by that time you had already lost your father, Nanaji, to
yeah.
this disease. So, did that in any way change the way you looked at him and at the situation?
Uh, See, I also, my oncologist was very truthful for me because after one point, he realized that I was the only the face for Muru, right? So he had told me that he's not going to survive because it's a fourth stage. So I was well aware of it. I was just buying time. But seeing Muru ready to fight, I, I can't. He was all game to fight it out. So I had to go along with his energy. Even in my head, I knew when, I didn't know when, but I know that the end result is not survival. There is no survival for this boy. But because of his so much of his energy, and there was a ritual, you will be surprised that after every chemotherapy, he was very fond of Chinese food. We used to immediately go to Opalin. He would eat chili beef, pan fried noodles. So that these were the rituals, and he had Muru like patterns. So because he realized that this is the pattern, that if I take these patterns one day, I'll become all right. So that was the thing, and he cooperated with me because I I had told him that you are going to become all right.
So, yeah, so Masi, you also, I'm seeing like a pattern of there being a lot of faith working into this also, right? That there were a lot of things which are done because there was faith in doing that. So, how important of a role did faith play into this?
I also want to add on to that question, Auntie, that faith is so unshakable in the way you are telling us, despite you seeing cancer in your life twice. So I want to know how that faith was also intact.
Absolutely. I had all faith, like I used to pray. There were tasbihs I used to do in the thing. To become well, I don't know, have I ever asked for, but to fight this journey of what he was going through is what my prayer was. And I had to just go along. My faith was my child. He was my child, and his resilience was my faith. But now, because I'm talking, it's quite a long time, I'm talking it out. Now I see that, yes, in spite of knowing the end result, I never saw that as a result. I only saw that Muru's fight is my battle. Muru's faith of getting well is my faith.
Auntie, I want to ask you. So, during the time that your dad was going through treatment, and you did say that you were married, so you were not living in that house, but
Yes.
was it a similar situation at that time? Like, did you know that he's also in that stage where he won't recover? And was it was it similar?
No, my father was aware of the disease, right? He was aware. He was aware, but his will to survive and to fight every step was like Muru never knew it, but he was ready to fight the battle. My father knew the disease and he wanted to fight this battle till the last breath. He had told all of us that he is going to do his will. He has done 8 operations or 7 operations in his life. Like there was a time with my father that his face was completely different. We could not, we like when initially we to have our eyes would be filled. He could not speak. So he was such a person that he would not stop there. He said, "You write to me." And we used to have conversation while writing because he could not speak. In the end, he had told us that now I remember there was my last meeting. I met him in the month of October in 1992 or 93. He died in November. And he told us that now he was just telling everything that what his will is, what all that is, because in his head now he had given up. So he said, "Now I can't take it anymore." And I remember crying like crazy. I said, "Papa, don't say that. Don't say that." He died in the month of November, I think 22nd or 20th or something that period of time. I was relieved that he's not going through any more pain. But yes, he was we always felt that without our father, we won't able to live because he was the pillar of our family. But my mother is still surviving. So I think life just goes on, right?
That's so
So
true. when I was diagnosed and the doctor said that you have cancer, I didn't want to say it out loud. I didn't want to say I have cancer because then I would have to accept that it is a reality, right? Um, so I want to ask you that you have seen it twice, and the first time you would have heard it, maybe a reaction would have been a certain way, and then the second time you heard it, it would have been a different way. And both are people very close, very loved to you. These are not people outside of family, right? So how was your mental health at that time, auntie? How did you deal with this? What did you do to maybe stay strong and hopeful? Because you, the way you said it, that you would tell him that, do this and you'll get better, because in your head you were fully hopeful that this is going to get better. So I want to know
Yeah.
what helped you stay that way.
Actually, I'll tell you, I was quite numb because my only life became, because I don't have an answer for that. I don't know what I did. I myself sometimes, because I had a little child of 5.5, right? Along with me, I was just not alone. I myself don't remember how Maria grew up that period of time. Who took her to school, where she was. That part of mine, I only have memory of Muru and me.
It's also like mental health is something that now we are talking about more regularly. People are actually, trying to become more aware about it. It's something that was not something that people talked about at that time, or did something
Correct.
specifically to feel better, or like treat it in that sense. um and I want to know what was your mental health like, because that is something that, even though there was no like diagnosis of it or nobody treating you for it, but it's something that you would have had to deal with on an everyday basis, right?
My mental health was just fine. I'm telling you, no, I was like, this is a war. I have to win this battle. So in that process, whatever is going to happen, I'm going to go along with it. I had to take him from. I had to go to school with him. I had to drop him to school. I had to pick him up. I had to go to radiation. I would go. It was like a task. It was a very monotonous, non-thinkable thing. I never thought of it. It was just a process which I was living. If I would have taken it as very emotionally, I don't think so. I would have taken it for 13 months.
Andy, it seems from how you are explaining it, it was like a route that, okay, now you have to
Yes,
take left, now you have to take right, now you have to do this. Like, there is not much thought going into, okay, now I have to do this. It's just that I have to do it, I'm going to do it. Next step, I have to do this, I'm going to do it.
yes,
But after you lost Murtaza, it would have suddenly realized, right, that this is not happening anymore and there's so many other things to do, and like life will hit you at some point.
correct.
What was it
Yes,
like that? Because I feel like if 1 year of your life you do something repetitively, it's suddenly like a
correct,
void, apart from that
correct.
person's void, but that process is void also, right?
Yes, this is a very beautiful journey which I think I have evolved from there. All this time it was just a pattern or a routine which I took, and I took to uh, take Muru to wherever he had to go to. Yes, all his journey. So I remember when my doctor told me that now he's not able to take the chemo anymore, and he was in a wheelchair. After so many, that's the time he could not walk. So during that period of time, I had one of my cousins who was at that time in US. She was in research department. She made me understand the gravity of the tumor. His Muru had this much of big ball here. So he said that much is inside. So then Femida one day told me that you have to stop drips, you have to stop food, you have to stop everything. And that was something very, very, I think that's where you can say I cried. Okay, his body has to die and then he will die. Otherwise, if you do this, he will go on surviving. It was very hard for me to swallow food, and I used to sit with him all the time. And then there was one, his birthday was coming. He's 26 April born. So we decided we are going to celebrate his birthday in a very big way. He was with no food, nothing. So we didn't cut any cake and all. We just were with him because we didn't want, he cannot eat anything. He was almost, and definitely his conscious levels were going down. All those things were there. He would wake up, sleep, wake up, sleep. And I remember one day, that is the day I couldn't believe what he told me. One day he told me, Mama, I cannot see you. And then I just cried. I said, you can't see me. He said, I can see you. I can hear you, I can feel you, but I can't see you. So his tumor had gone in his eyesight part. And then he went into coma. I called everybody. Usually we do mafinama when somebody is older, but he was a child. We never realized that we had to do that to him also. It was a farewell. They couldn't believe that we had to do something for this little boy. I said, no, I want all of you go one by one, say good memories and tell him farewell. And in the end, I went and I cried and cried. I told him that I knew you were going to die. You know that word? He never knew there was cancer. So I said, you remember cancer which Nana Papa had? That is what you had. And I told him how much I love him, everything. And I said, now you have to go. So that is what happened tomorrow. And I remember when he passed away, we always say that his soul goes to the sky or something like that. I still remembering he passed away early morning at 4 a.m. I was sitting next to him. I saw his heartbeat go from beating to taking a pause, breathing, because his body had become very lean. He was not eating for a month. So that is the time the heart, I could see the heart pumping and not pumping. Remember when he passed away, I immediately ran to a balcony and I'm thinking that the soul is going up like that. And I was telling him farewell there. I told him, Guru, I hope you have a lovely journey. I was looking at the sky for some time, and then we came back, and the other rituals and all just happened after that. Within a week, I think I removed everything away of him, but I lived with his memory. I lived with his memory. Initially, yeah, they were not those easy memories because suddenly I had so much of time in the world. And then I decided that now I have to see Maria. I have to see Maria because I always feel that Muru still lives with me. I always feel he's there somewhere
And he is.
with us.
He definitely is.
Yes,
He's living on in your
yes,
memories, in the memories of all the people whose lives he touched.
yes,
And through
and
Tumorously yours now, he will be
yes,
everyone's. Everyone will learn
yes,
from this, from
yes,
him, from
and definitely Oleander because when I deal with children with difficulties, because Muru had learning difficulties, so that's where I decided I don't want to be a teacher. I want to be a facilitator. I want to help a child who comes to me. Not saying that you don't know anything. What you know, we'll take it forward from there. So that's my journey. Yeah,
But auntie, it's really sad that we all have to deal with death at different times of life. But it's also
yeah.
a reality, and you've seen it absolutely this closely. And I want to ask you, what is the one thing that you would tell um, people, but also what is the one thing that you have learned from the journeys of both your father and your son, and the fact that this is how it is, but life goes on.
Yeah, I've learned that death is inevitable, be it healthy or be it with a disease. And one thing, I think Muru broke that thing that when you become old, you die. That's something which, and now I don't believe that concept because Muru was too young to go away, right? And I think I want to, I know I'm going to die. So I have decided to live my life the way I want. What if I think I want to do this, I just do it. So, and I want to live my life very happily with all my wishes and everything because I know this journey is going to end, but I don't want to end in a way that I feel bad about. I've never felt guilty about it. So with Muru dying, or I've not blamed. Yeah, I must have been angry at that time because he was so small. But with my father also, I live with my father is the best of things. What was his essence? What was Muru's essence? I don't celebrate his death anniversary. I celebrate his birthday. I give ice creams to my watchman children or my neighbors' children. I distribute ice creams to all of them because Muru loved ice cream. I loved ice cream. The hard part is I've seen it, I've done it. I think his essence to live with all the adversities was something which I want to take it. So I always tell myself, I want to be strong like you.
Yeah, Sumasi, thank you so much for sharing everything you shared with us.
It is very difficult, but it's not impossible.
It is very difficult,
So
but it is not impossible.
First time at the end of an episode, I don't know what to say. I just want to say thank you. I thank you so much.